gonna practice my reading, woman. I'm gonna come down from the mountain, gonna get me a library card. 'Cause I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. Lord knows that I am. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. Lord knows I am. Gonna come down from the mountain, gonna beat you at Scrabble, woman. Gonna come down from the mountain, gonna read the dictionary. Cause I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain man. Lord knows that I am. I'm a mountain man. I'm a mountain. I'm a man. I'm a mountain man. Lord knows I am.
All right, guys, welcome to the Northern Footy Show. It's been a huge week in footy, and as I said earlier in the promo, Matty, it's been a little robust in here between you and I for the last half an hour.
No, that's all right. I don't mind when you're wrong. I like to bring it up so we can actually get to the bottom of what's actually correct.
I cannot emphasize enough as people are tuning in. We want your comments tonight. Give us everything. Tell us how it is, who's right, who's wrong, and can you add to it? Because, Matty, the realistic part of this is it's just our opinion.
Well,
doesn't mean we're right. I know I am, but doesn't mean we're right. But, you know, we're going to go through it. There's things you and I don't agree on, and we're going to get our heads around this pretty quickly.
Well, the reality is you're going upon results for the year. It's not made up on what we're hoping for at the start of the year. There's data here from players. There's data here from teams. We've seen a lot of different situations happening. We can't pick teams every week because there's no consistency in teams. So, you know, any type of halfway mark rankings is based upon what we've expected, what they've delivered, what the ladder looks like, but it doesn't kind of mean that that's what they're like for the year. You get, and you know, second half of the year to prove us wrong or to prove us, you know, right.
Well, let's jump straight into it because we've got 3 divisions to get through here, Bonners.
Yeah.
And let's start in Division 1, and let's start with my A+. So I said, Bonners, at the midway point of the season, it's impossible to not give Heidelberg an A+. The club is in outstanding form under the guidance of Indatoli, a coach of excellence. Their undefeated streak speaks volumes about their expectational player and depth of balance. Exceptional player depth and balance. Shut up, dickhead. They are setting the highest standard in the league. Truly, they are a footy factory. Give me your interpretation of my analysis.
Look, I almost think they can't be graded. I think it's almost an impossible grade to give them. We saw them pre-season, and I think we were blown away from a Northern Footy League team to have such numbers, have professional standards, and like knowing Vinny, and knowing his background in with the Vita footy and things like that, that you always knew that was going to come with a great deal of professionalism. But I think there's again a couple of games that have been close, so teams are slowly bridging that gap. But no one could just you can't sit there and say they're untouchable. But I do think that at this point in time, it's going to take a lot to dethrone them.
Well, sides have got close.
Yeah.
So they are beatable.
Yeah.
I don't
know they're beatable. They get close to, though.
Everything has to go. I think they've won 47 out of their last 48 games, or maybe it's 48 out of 49, one or the other. But that's an amazing record, Bonners. You don't hear about that often.
And they only just lost to Monty last year, too. So, you've lost. I'd love to see their percentage combined for 2 years. It would just be, they've come out last week and a team we rank really highly and think they're one of the premiership contenders and basically battered them by 100 points. So at Hurstbridge's ground too. So it speaks volume to where they're at.
Well, I can tell you this, and I won't tell you now, but the Division 1 best players, you'll be not shocked, Heidelberg feature prominently in our top 10.
Yeah, and as I said, you could almost put most of their team in the top 10. So, you know, the fact that there's only probably 5 best players every week probably makes it tougher for them to do it.
So do you agree with me?
Yeah, I'll give you one.
All right, there's one agree. Let's move to Montmorency. So I've given them a ranking B. Montmorency's demonstrated the ability to win games and finish strongly despite the 3 losses. With a blend of established stars and promising young talent, they are well positioned for success in the latter stages of the season. Improving their final performances will be key to fulfilling their potential in 2024. Nash Holmes is my standout star and can lead them all the way. It's halfway through the season. This will be an interesting discussion at finals.
Yep.
They just haven't been able to get it done for a long time in finals, but we're not there yet. Is B ranking fair, or should have it been A minus?
Yeah, I probably think, I feel like we're comparing it to Heidelberg. So you almost have to take Heidelberg out of the equation.
Yep.
And say the next row of people, when you look at the ladder from 2nd to 5th,
Yep.
you know, everyone's on the same. The only thing separating them is percentage. So I actually think an A minus is right, because for me the biggest factor is always going to be percentage. Which, if you're losing, you're not losing by a lot. But if you're winning by a fair margin. So I reckon, at least an A minus for these guys.
All right, we'll get to Divi 3. You can see it's getting some constant press. It has been. I agree.
Yeah.
It gave me the best it's ever been. So are you agreeing with me on Mont?
No, I think it should be an A minus.
All right, so Bonners is going
I'm so glad you're not my high school teacher.
minus. It gives me the big cross. I'm not expecting many, ticks from Bonners. Hurstbridge, I've rated them a B plus. Hurstbridge will swiftly become a destination club.
It says a minus, mate.
What'd I say?
B plus.
No, it's a B minus. You haven't listened. Go back and listen to the
Swear
audio.
God, you're struggling.
Hurstbridge have swiftly become a destination club, largely due to the leadership of President Taylor Hopkins and Joel Caldwell, a standout coach in the league. Their focus on youth development and strong performances on and off the field are commendable. However, a significant loss by 100 points tempers their otherwise strong season. They're going to play finals, in my opinion. They should. Well, it's going to be tight, but
someone's going to miss out.
That's their first real hiccup, though.
Yeah. Look, I actually think they should be rated higher than Mont, because we came into this season with the belief that Mont are the heir apparent. Yeah, no, look, I actually think they should be a full A. When you kind of look at where they've come, this is a second Divi team that's been up for a little bit. They've, pushed for finals. I reckon we need to start to grade them upon the expectation pre-seasons. Look, we'd hope they'd make finals, but they're every chance to finish second. So for me, I think they should be an A. Probably high for me. I'd have them higher than Mont just because of the expectation and performance. I think it's probably exceeded what a lot of people thought.
I just can't find myself giving an A to someone that's dropped, 3 games? Doesn't make sense for me.
But who have they lost to?
Oh, Heidelberg.
Yeah, well, then they've had 2 losses, because Heidelberg's an automatic for most teams. So, yeah, I actually think from comparatively and what they've come from, I think they actually deserve an A.
Oh, I disagree. And we're going to go through this all night, I can see.
Yep.
Let's move to your buddy. At Banyule, I've given them a B minus. Banyule season with just 3 losses may exceed or be on par with their pre-season expectations, led by experienced coach and friend of the great Matthew Bonadeo, Paul Harris, and boasting a talented squad of great youth. They're likely contenders for finals and capable of challenge any opponent. Do not underestimate them, because I actually think they could win it.
I agree, but I think the B minus is actually quite reasonable for that. I reckon probably.
All right, mate.
I reckon a few weeks ago you would have said pretty much an A plus the way they were going. They pushed Heidelberg and they were beating the team they should, but a couple of hiccups by way of not even some just winning. And some, losing on the weekend when you have a team. You're 5 goals up or something on a team. So I actually think B minus is a fair result.
All right, I'm going to take that. I know this is a contentious one straight away.
Yep.
My little passion for the doggies as well. But I've given North a B minus and said North Heidelberg impresses with their dynamic gameplay, anchored by rising star, and he could be my love child, Parker Heatley.
Poor kid.
Poor kid. And a few season stars they have, of course, Itadio, etc. Despite being 5th on percentage, they pose a serious threat if they can secure a finals berth. Jason Heatley's experience and expectation can cause some problems for the other sides come finals, because he's a very, very experienced coach. They're travelling along pretty well. No one allowed to speak about the man that left, but
what
it
does. Look, it does. It doesn't matter who it is. When you lose someone of a high caliber early in the year, there's a lot of reshuffling. But I mean, Parker Heatley's come in and taken the heir apparent and done exactly what he needs to be. Yeah, probably a B for me as well. I think with all the disturbance pre-season, they've still got to try and get some stars back. They're still finding their mojo a little bit. Dropping a few at home, I think, for me, is the part that still doesn't, going to the Kennel was one of the most intimidating places to play. One of the best places
I reckon
to play.
it still is.
Yeah, it's still intimidating, but I still think there's a lot. I reckon you'll find in the second half of the season, you'll find them probably as an A.
Okay, well, if you walk down there and say that, you'll be
I'm more than
intimidated.
happy to.
So,
I'll say to
you're
Parker.
disagreeing with my B minus. You think a flat B.
I reckon a flat B. Yeah.
All right, Greensy, let's move over there. I've given them a C plus.
Yep.
They're currently sitting 6th on the ladder, but only a game away from second place. Greensboro has shown potential with victories over strong teams like North Heidelberg, but with a full squad, they could push for a final spot, no worries. A young side too, and hopefully with all the injuries behind them, they are a chance of being that side that upsets that final series.
Yeah, no, look, I agree with the C plus. I think 4 or 5 weeks ago, you would have said I would have probably given them an A.
Yeah, I would probably. Yep.
I think I said on the weekend, and we say it again every time. As soon as you come against they had a run of the top sides, you get an audit where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Just for me, they're probably the one team that are really going to push for finals. But they're the ones for me that have to show a little bit more to get into that finals, because either, Monty, Hurstbridge, Banyule or North Heidelberg have to come out for Greensboro to go in.
Yes.
So, these other teams have performed at a pretty decent level. And there's times, as I said, Greensboro had Banyule till half time and then they couldn't kick straight. So you add another one win to them and one less to Banyule. And I think these things change a little bit.
Well, let's move to West Preston Lakeside, currently sitting 7th on the ladder. I've given them a C minus. West Preston Lakeside remains in contention for finals, but needs some fortune on their side. They've displayed skill and talent, securing significant wins against tough opponents. Their fate hinges on consistency and winning the close ones. Look, I think a C minus is fair.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that inconsistency kills you.
Yep.
And it'll always be, you can't be, it's almost like, I think every week we sit here and go, oh, they can't win this game. They come out and win. You say, oh, they've got to win this game. And then they come out and lose. So
it's not too much chatter online, which tells me I've got it right so far. No one's sticking up for Bonners, which is great. Let's go to Eltham, sitting 8th on the ladder. I've given them a D plus. Eltham may be content with their debut season in the top flight, despite the challenging start to the season. I expect them to finish 8th, Bonners.
Mhm.
They have the capability to upset higher ranked sides too. They might sneak a couple more wins. Their focus on gaining experience will benefit them in the long run, and I'm talking 2025 season, bolstered by a good young squad and the very famous and loved Tim Bongetti. He's so well respected. I just hear endlessly. I think D plus is a fair review for where they're at.
I think I'd put them the same as West Preston. I reckon a little bit higher, because people come in with an expectation of what like teams that come up, you automatically think, oh, they're just to make up numbers. Let's kind of send these guys down again. So, and there's been games where they've well and truly, and I think we spoke to Darcy, had every opportunity to win it, but let teams go on a run on, couldn't hold on, learnt lessons. So I actually think I'd have them on the same as West Preston. I reckon a C minus is a little bit, just to change the letter a little bit.
We're close.
Yeah, we're close. But I still think that what they've done and what they've achieved, and for a team coming up, I think we're a lot harder to grade these teams coming up. I mean, it's a massive jump, and you look at the teams up the top, there's one game separating, 2nd and 6th. I mean, it's a high quality competition.
No, it is indeed. And I don't mind if we're that close.
Yep.
It's an argumentative discussion. Let's get to Bundoora, your old stomping ground.
Yeah.
I've given them a D minus, Bonners. Bundoora and McLeod will fight it out to remain in Division 1, in my opinion. The issue is Eltham and McLeod have both beaten Bundoora. Losing a fleet of players in the off-season has contributed to the slide south on the ladder for Bundoora. Losing guys like Sam Lloyd, Hamish Shepherd and Nipper Marshall, you lose an immense amount of experience overnight. You just can't replace it that easy. Some young talent there being groomed for the future, and that will pay dividends if they can hold on. but it's going to be bloody close, is all I can tell you,
Well,
Bonners. Tell me your take.
Well, there's a lot of work to be done. I mean, we're all good to take accolades and stuff, and nothing hurts more for a team that I'm blue and white. People want to have a go at us, that's fine. But for me, it's
copped a bit of flack that we don't speak about.
It is a little bit that they make there's some big decisions made over pre-season. There's a lot of young guys. They bring in a really experienced coach. I sometimes almost think D- is too high. I feel like that. For me, that's been the biggest disappointment, to go from, as much as you lose players, you still have such a proud squad.
Played in a granny last year.
But this is a team that, and other teams have gone through. You look at North Heidelberg in the past, went down, they had trouble. So these guys really have to hold on. And I'd love to see a B+ or an A for the second half of the year. But as it stands now, it is probably a D- or an E of where they're sitting. And I mean, you ask, I love Kingy. King is, one of the great people of football, and he wouldn't be sitting there being overly happy with where they're at. But things have to change in the second half of the year, because if you've lost to the two sides that you're fighting to remain up there with, it does put you in a precarious position, I reckon.
We talked off air the other day on the phone when we have our sort of weekly wrap, and we were saying that if an AFL side went through a slide like this,
everyone would be all over them.
Yeah, and we're not.
And look, this isn't AFL. This is local footy. You lose players, but it's such a proud club that you almost have to be a little bit more critical, because this is what Bundoora has been a stalwart for years, same as Heidelberg has, Monty. But these guys are still up there, up the top. So things have to change, and they can change. And the second, this doesn't define a season having a D- at the start.
Yeah,
it just means that we're sitting here right now. That's where the issues sit.
Okay, so you're agreeing with the D-?
No, I think it's probably an E, yeah.
All right. So
which kills me to say.
I know.
I actually do think that there has to be a hell of a lot of improvement for that to change.
All right. Well, let's move on to McLeod. I've given them a D- also. McLeod, while unable to reach finals, has shown resilience in close matches against top teams. They face a crucial match against Bundoora towards the end of the season, which may decide their fate in Division 1 as well. At the end of the day, I watched the McLeod game against Bundoora. I actually think McLeod just handled the ball a lot better.
Yep.
And they were very smart dropping two players back, including Hurley in the last 10 minutes.
Yep.
They really defended a small lead. So hats off to them. D-, I think that's as fair as I can.
I think it's fair. I mean, when you look at teams like that, out of those top three, who can you see knocking off a team in the top 8?
Yeah. The problem is you're saying then Bundoora is the worst side in the comp for the first half with an A.
Well, they've lost to the two teams around them. So, like, they've won one game. But when you're kind of fighting it out for relegation and stuff like that, that the teams around you are the ones that you really have to make sure that you put away.
Yeah.
So that gives you a little bit of breathing space. The fact that both have lost to both, not just one, means that, they're in it. Well, something's not right. But as I said, you get second half of the year. The beauty of football is you get the rest of the year to rectify the situation.
Yeah.
But the way it sits right now is that they're probably the team that's sitting right on the precipice of going down.
I wonder if they've ever been down. Do you know?
I don't know. I actually was thinking that the other day. And
I think it was 1974 the club started.
Yeah, I can't remember it being that way. But, I have every faith in Kingy and that they will stay up. And they'll probably grab a couple more extra games than we expect. But as it sits now, I think that, of all the teams, they seem most likely to have some trouble staying up.
All right, let's talk very quickly, guys. Any comments on that, send them in. We're happy to hear them. We're going to quickly discuss the leading goal kickers, Bonners, for Division 1.
Yep.
We're only going to mention the guys that have got 20 goals or more. Walk me through who's leading the way, Bonners.
I always find it amazing. Like, we talk about best players, which we'll talk about later, but a team on top of ladder who's kicked probably, 7,000 goals, they've got one person who's kicked, 20 or more goals. It says so much about the football club that how many blokes are kicking goals every week. So we've got our boy Parker, just seamlessly coming into the corner. Has no idea how to accept a joke, or has no idea how to get a joke. But when it comes to footy, we've got Zane Barzan from Heidelberg, so he's kicked 27. Dante Colosimo from West Preston. So, they've got goal kickers down there at West. It's just consistency. He's kicked, 23. We've got Jack Langford at Bunyul, big boy. He's kicked 20. He probably kicked 20 goals, 42, I reckon, the way I've seen him kick. Brody Glenn at Greens, he's kicked 20. Ayan Bajramov from Monty, 20 goals.
Yep.
Patrick Fitzgerald. Do you know what's funny? Actually, there's a coach called Gerald Fitzgerald, so I kind of felt like I was going into that. Patrick Fitzgerald from Monty's kicked 20, and Peter McAvoy from Bundoora has kicked 20. There's a few 18, 17, 16s, but 20 and above, that's the team. So the interesting part is, of the top teams, there's kind of only one or so, except Mont, that have got goal kickers in the top, which is it's a standard now that you have 3 or 4 big players kicking 2 or 3 goals a week. So I think it speaks volumes.
We've got our Division 1 best 10 players, and we feel bad leaving a couple out. So there's a couple of special mentions. We've got Luke Bunker from Heidelberg, no surprise, at the top of the tree, and well-deserved. Darcy Barden, McLeod, he's number 2, and he's every week he performs. He's been in the best 8 out of 9 weeks. That's what you want from your players, consistency.
But you think like a lot of these teams have these players who are dominating each week, and the problem with that is if you have trouble, they're injured. That's what worries you, I think, for going forward.
100%. So. Dylan Clark, Heidelberg again. Gunn. Lockie East from Bundoora, arguably the best defensive player in the competition. Sitting number 4, Kobe Brandt. No surprise, synonymous name. Zachary Hudson from McLeod after that. So Kobe's from McLeod as well. Zachary Hudson from McLeod. Then Nash Holmes, no surprise.
No
Had one
surprise
a couple of weeks ago. Superstar at number 7. Brody Tardio at number 8 from Heidelberg. Keenan Prosser, another guest we've had on. Superstar at number 9. You know, when you're putting Keenan, when you put KP at number 9, you feel a bit rude. But, you know,
kind of funny. Like, I think I've said plenty of times, if Heidelberg's to stop, one of the people you actually have to stop is KP.
Yeah, he's a star.
Because the way he comes off half back, it just sets up play.
And then I've got from Hurstbridge, Mitchell Hymas at number 10. I feel bad not mentioning these other couple, so I'm going to very quickly. Angus Sievers from Greensboro and Jesse Tardio from North Heidelberg. It was split by it. So, and there's so many more after that we can do. Anyway, Division 1, done and dusted, Bonners. I don't think we're too far apart. This is amazing.
I think we'll be close
online, so we haven't
wait till we get Division 3. That's when we're going to start punch on.
Division 3. Lance is going to start throwing shit through the thing. All right, Division 2 halfway review. We'll do the same format. So Whittlesea number 1, I've given an A+ to. My summary was Whittlesea's flawless 10-0 record at the midway point demands A+ rating. Under the astute leadership of Gary Ramsey, they have showcased immense talent in Division 2. Led on field by Xavier Damasi, who we spoke to a couple of weeks ago, they've proven resilient following relegation, positioning themselves to go to the top flight, which they consistently do. They come down, they pop up, they come down, they pop up. So right or wrong, Bonners?
Nah, I actually agree with that. You can't be 10-0 and have anything less than an A+.
I think you're right. It's a pretty good start. Well, no arguments there. Let's go to Diamond Creek. Special mention, and not just to Diamond Creek. I've seen so much MND stuff going on. Lorimer had a huge night down there the other night. I'm just so proud of all the clubs doing what they're doing and
was a hell of a lot
getting
of fun
behind
Friday,
it. Just as it was cold, I come home and my bones were frozen for ages. So
I had to carry you again. I feel like I'm doing it every week.
Mate, I'm getting heavier to carry too, let me tell you. So Diamond Creek, I've given it A-. Despite a few recent setbacks, Diamond Creek boasts a roster brimming with talent and potential. Progressive club led by your mate, Andrew Tranquilli, and skipper Nathan Searle. They remain a serious contender for the title. The second half of the season will be pivotal for their premiership aspirations. Bonners, A-.
I think a flat A, and the reason is their percentage is nearly 200. So you can't be
I want more.
200%, and you've dropped 2 games against high quality teams. So I actually think an A is right on the mark for them to be. As I said, nearly 200%. To me, that says a lot about when they're winning, they're winning. And when they're losing, they're only just losing.
Go back to my old philosophy. I think they've dropped, is it 2 or 3 now?
2.
2.
Yeah.
It probably is a bit harsh, but I'm sticking with it. All right, so Diamond Creek really needs to knock off, Whittlesea or South Morang here, realistically.
The ones that get, for me, there's 3 teams that can win it right now. St Mary's are the outside choice, but for me, Diamond Creek, Whittlesea and South Morang are the 3 teams that will, battle it out, I think, at the end of the year.
All right, well, let's move to South Morang. I've given them an A minus.
Yep.
South Morang's impressive performances suggest they could compete in Division 1 next season. With the return of key VFL players to come at the latter part of the
Yep.
season, they possess depth that rivals any team. Coach Gary Hall faces the challenge of integrating the abundance of talent he has, but the time to impress Gary is now.
Yep.
There will be no excuses later. Hardest job going around is coaching. Their ability to match Whittlesea and Diamond Creek makes them a genuine threat. For me, I would not be surprised to see them holding the Premiership Cup at the end of the year. Hard to knock off Whittlesea, but this is much tighter than Division 1.
Well, you said that there's 2 players to come back, and not just some average Joes coming back into the side.
Kalpakis and Dintasante
playing good football at VFL. So, and you know,
holding their own there.
Yeah, as a person who's been part of VFL, it's a the only problem you have coming back is the VFL standard is when you run to a place, the ball's there.
Yeah.
When you come to local footy, it's a little bit less, I guess, streamlined. There's a lot more kind of contested work. So, but they're still going to make a big change. I think A minus is because they've had a couple of hiccups.
Yep.
Along the way, they're the things that they're going to have to. I think who did we speak about as well with consistency? You know, West Preston with consistency. Yep. So South Morang, I think, are in the same bucket. But as I said,
but a lot more talent.
A lot more talent. But you know, you could easily throw a blanket over Whittlesea, Diamond Creek, and South Morang if they had won a couple of extra games. And suddenly they're all A pluses. So they make for a cracking second half of the year.
Impressive thing for me is they came up. They played finals in the first season.
And now
they're looking super strong, contending.
Yeah,
I reckon Gary's. I'm speaking out of school. I don't know Gary well enough, but I reckon he would have been happy to finish just out of finals in the first year. And would have given that a pass mark, and then expected finals this year.
But I think though that gives you you an understanding. I think for these young kids to get there in the first year, that like the hunger to get there back there again, and go further. You can see in their results in a lot of the teams, the close games, like you know, they got over the line for some areas and. You know, after the siren.
You got to win the close one.
You got to win the close one. So I still think as I said, they're in and around the mark. But if you look at, as I said, percentage says, for me, always says a lot. And their percentage is pretty much the same as what Whittlesea's is. So your top 3 teams' percentage is almost, you know, nearly double most of the other ones. So
before anyone gets into us, Maddie and I, this is our man time. So we have a beer on the show. Don't send anything about that.
You won't let me chug it, so I'll drink it properly.
I'll block you. All right, so let's move to St Mary's.
Yeah,
I'm going to be a bit harsh here, I reckon. I've given them a B minus. Despite holding 4th place, St Mary's needs to elevate their game in the second half to have a finals berth. They possess skill and talent, but must maintain consistency against the lower-ranked teams to strive for upsets against the higher seeded opponents. Now, what I'm getting at there is that you can't drop any more games, St Mary's, to anyone underneath you, or your season is cooked. Let me tell you right now. So you need to lift. For me, you have the skill to match it with anyone on the day.
Yeah,
you've got to stop dropping these little games. It's not on. No. That's why I've given the B minus and no B or B plus.
Yeah.
But what's your take on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's more than reasonable because you know, a percentage under 100 winning 6 games it means that you're losing badly and you're winning just.
If I'm frustrated, it's because their good is great.
Yeah,
you know,
but they have shown. I mean, dropping that game against I think South Morang, having it really till the last couple of minutes.
Dropped the game last week, and it's like you got to be kidding me. Like that's just
I think that's the local footy now. I mean, it's
strong.
You can't actually take anything. Was that Watsy? I think Watsy beat him.
Was it?
Yeah. Wasn't sure. So, but we did that on the weekend. But I reckon B minus. I still think they can be a genuine threat. But as you always come back to, percentage will always tell you whether you're kicking enough goals and points to win the game. So it was my smite on Ivanhoe for quite a while. That
they've listened.
You have to.
Your love affair with Schultze. You must have told him he needs to kick more goals.
I just think that these type of clubs, if you want to be really pushing these top 3 teams, you have to start making a few more statements. So B minus, I think, is fair.
Before we move to Tomo, I'm going to say I only think the top 3 can win it.
I agree.
That's my opinion.
With an outside chance if they get their stuff together, but I still think it comes out of the top 3. I think everyone we spoke to on the weekend was pretty much under the same feeling. It doesn't to say that it's, you know, in 4 weeks' time we could be sitting here, some areas of one, beating all the top teams and and some of the others have dropped some. But as it stands now, the top 3 for me is where it's going to come from.
Let's get on to Tomo, who are sitting 5th on the ladder. I've given them a flat C. Thomastown's season hinges on missed opportunities, notably their loss to Northcote Park on the last weekend. While their wins against St Mary's and Panton Hill showcase their potential, they must capitalise on upcoming matches against top contenders to revive their finals prospects.
Yeah, same scenario, I think, before with the first and second division. Yeah, which of these teams can you see upsetting the top teams? And it's really hard to see outside St Mary's. Any of the Thomastown, Panton Hill. Probably the only one for me might be Watsonia. Could really cause some upsets later. But
get to Watsy. I'm looking forward to my
they're coming.
conversation on
I
Watsy.
just think, yeah, C minus probably for Thomastown. We had such, there was a very big. Yeah, I think you're about right. So yeah.
All right, well, let's move to Panton Hill. I've given them a C minus. Mathematically still in contention for finals, Bonners. Panton Hill face an uphill battle. Their upcoming clash with Northcote Park will be the decisive game. If they drop this, they're done.
Yep.
With the right effort, they can emerge a formidable team anchored by consistent performers like Sam and Ollie Parks. Those 2 guys are seriously the pillars of that club at the moment on the field. I'm really... These guys remind me a little bit of St Mary's. St Mary's a little bit better, but Panton Hill have potential.
Yeah.
And there'd be a side you wouldn't want to play because they could upset anyone any day. I reckon they're missing, might seem harsh in my notes, I reckon they're missing 4 players. If they get 4 more good players, I think they're a serious contender.
I still think it's the outside player they miss. I mean, we saw them against Diamond Creek, and they were as tough as anyone at the contest.
I agree. And they got smashed that night, and they still went harder.
But you look like, we had to chat to the coach after the game, and it was very simple that the ball came out, but there was no one to give it to.
Yeah.
So no one that could pass. You look at the top teams; they've got that distributor.
How many times did they go wide to the wing that night?
Yeah, don't get me started.
And you were losing
Does
your
my
mind,
head in. It's the one kick in football I've never understood. You're going further away from the goals to give the opposition a chance to get back. But for me, I still think that they have every chance to make finals, and I still think they could finish as high as 4th above St Mary's if things fall their way and they start to get just that little bit of a click to go through. We speak about Northcote Park later, but they're the same situation. If enough things click, there's going to be a lot of upsets going forward.
I don't see them there, but I'm happy to be wrong as well. A C minus?
No, I'm all right with that, yeah.
All right, so Watsonia, I've given them a C minus. I nearly gave them a C, though, Bonners.
Yeah.
Watsonia shouldn't be underestimated as they surge towards the final berth potentially. Coach George Latouffe's leadership has instilled belief in the team driving their recent form. Despite tough tests ahead, they are a dark horse for the last final spot. Now, what I say about that, I know firsthand from a couple of players that George is nearly looked upon as the holy man, right?
Yep.
He has so much respect, and a coach that has all the respect and all the buy-in from the players. I reckon Watsonia are going to play finals.
Well, I was very impressed when we spoke to him pre-season. I thought he had a good understanding of the game. He had a good fast game that he wanted to play. But they've come up short in games they probably should have won. So I think C minus is more than reasonable. But second half of the year, if it starts to click, some of these teams that there's going to be frantic run to the finals. And I think with all divisions, you're not going to know till the end of the final round who's going to play finals, I reckon. And that's fantastic for football.
Yeah. And my boyhood idol, Gary Cutler, down there, he is doing a great job with the Magoos as well.
Stomping ground at Binat Park.
Yes, so. He's doing a great job and a great support. And if you need someone taken out before the first count, he will send out a headbutt. Cuts later. We won't revisit that. Put the glasses back on. Can say nothing. Lower Plenty, I've given them a C minus, Bonners. Lower Plenty have defied pre-season predictions, fighting hard for wins against the odds. Led by standout players like Jordan Sacco, who's in the best every week, and Patrick Flynn. They remain in contention. Their tendency, the tenacity makes them the team to watch.
You can't read. This is even your writing. It's in like 46 Braille.
Shut up, idiot. Their tenacity makes them hard to watch closely as they navigate a challenging schedule. I put my hand up. I had them for bottom of the ladder pre-season. I just... after the season before, I didn't think they had done enough to make a difference. But I tell you what, they
Yeah, look,
They're playing all right footy.
yeah, they're not playing bad football. I haven't seen a lot of them and followed it a lot, so probably I can't give a good account. And I'd love to get down. There's a couple of teams I still want to kind of sort out and
What's
see.
the
and see
replay
how-
online, mate?
Yeah, look, I do watch it doesn't give you the same thing as actually being there. So just seeing the whole game, see how they structure and everything like that. So yeah, C- for me.
You're scaring me, Bonners. You're agreeing too much. Northcote
We haven't
Park.
got to Divi 3 yet, mate.
Oh, no, that's gonna throw the toys in the front. Northcote Park, I've given a D plus, despite their potential. Northcote Park season has been marred by injuries and close losses. Positioned second last on the ladder, they face a battle for survival. However, recent performances, including a significant win over Thomastown, signal they're more than capable of upsetting a couple of higher ranked sides as well, Bonners. I think they're going to hold on to that ninth spot.
I actually think they'll be higher. I actually
Could
think
be.
second half of the year, they've been in winning positions so many times.
Yep.
And, we spoke to, I think it was Matt on the weekend, and
Great bloke.
just saw that you could see, and Northcote Park's another one of those teams. We talk about Bundoora coming down. These are another teams that they want to start a dynasty. And for me, to be honest, I get sick of hearing of all these people I played with their fathers. It's really making me feel damn old. And he was a 3-year-old when I was running around playing against these blokes. So,
he did say that.
Yeah, no, I'm getting that all the time. We had Kane Proctor and Greeny here, and I played against their old men. For me, I think they're a massive watch second half of the year.
Yep.
I think that we'll be sitting here lauding them by the end of the year.
Yep.
And some of the teams, as I said, if there's teams in the bottom three you don't want to play, it's Northcote Park for me, especially at Northcote Park.
They didn't have a two side 3 weeks ago, and now they've come out. They've won. They've got players back, which is strength.
And it's getting more and more every week.
Good on them. I'd hate to see a side like Northcote Park go down again. I want them to hang on. They were the Heidelberg of the early 2000s.
Oh mate, we ran into them in every final series. They had such, and these are teams that have, and not that every other team doesn't have this background, but for me, that they were the. You'd go there, the North Heidelbergs, the Northcote Parks, the Heidelbergs and Monties. It was always such a hard-fought win. Loved catching up with them after a game, but you weren't coming out without cuts and bruises.
Vinny Hanlon still yells at me. We were saying the other night, he reckons I belted a player from Northcote Park when I was at North Heidelberg. I actually didn't do it. I wish I did for the amount of grief he's given me. He dropped off a bin about 6 months ago. He's still like, I know it was you bastard. Mate, it wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
He's a great guy. Agreeing with my D plus bonus. Jeepers, are we going for a clean sweep here? Did you? I know you gave me the Diamond Creek Khyber pass. Lorimer, I had Lorimer to play finals this year. I'm going to put it out here. I think I've stuffed up. My love for Jimmy Atkins has probably skewered my decision, but I've given them a D. And the reason I've given them a D, Bonners, is their transition from Division 3 to Division 2 has been challenging, reflecting on their current ranking. Coach Jimmy Atkins faces a tough road ahead to avoid relegation. With lessons learned from the first half of the season, they must capitalise on opportunities to secure vital wins, and I think they're going to need 3 wins to stay up.
I think they're going to need more, to be honest. I actually think that Northcote Park is going to go on a bit of a run. You're already 2.5 games behind Lowell Plenty, so it's going to take a lot for them to stay up. And look, I don't like seeing any team go down. I'm one of those people that if the team that comes up, I want them to stay there for 2 years and then have a go, see how they go. Going up and down doesn't really serve a purpose for me. But that's what they've earned. That's what happens at the end. So it'd be D- for me too. I actually think they're a little bit more disappointing. Like we had a chat to the boys. A lot of them had a training run with Darcy Wilmot, saw what's needed. They come in with such excitement, but just hasn't passed on to the field. And percentage of 62 as well means that it's going to be a tough year. But as I said, the beauty of football is you get a second half of the year to try and push it. And I'd love to see them push up. But, to be 10 points behind in a Northcote Park that seemed to be gaining a little bit of momentum, it is going to be tough.
Let me ask you, if you're coaching Lorimer in Division 3 and you've just won a flag, is not the lesson, is your advice here that you can't go up with so many kids? You need to take up a couple of experienced players to carry them? Because I didn't think they needed to.
I think the number one thing when you go up to a new division is recruitment. And I'm not talking about going to get the best players. Some, Old Predians were lucky to get, Sam Gilmore. Kane Proctor went down to Fitzroy Stars to play with family, which I think is amazing. But, you have to get those. If you wanted to get young players, you almost have to get the fringe players of your top three teams and say, come down with me, you'll get a game every week, and build from there. So these players are known to the second division. You can't take a team from one division to the others that hasn't got the experience in that division and think that it's, the youth exuberance will get you so far. But in the end, football's
it's a hard read, and I'll tell you why, because South Morang took all their players up. They didn't really top up when they went up too far. I think there was a couple of guys that come in.
And that's all you need. You only need a couple of players. I mean,
that was my point.
Yeah, I still think we had a chat to Harold as well, and our old mate Macca, who he's the one that goes out there and recruits, and said, well, if we're going to go up, the first thing you do when you go up is saying, okay, I'm going to go to the top few teams who's not getting a game every week, and we're going to offer them a bit of money to try and come down.
Yeah.
So we know that then they're going to come in with the experience of the teams who've been up there.
Yeah.
As well as bringing their ability to play in second division. So you need to draft players from the division you're going up to, so you're not kind of walking behind. So, and is the window open till the end of June?
June 30.
Yeah. So why not go and see if you can pinch a couple of players?
I'm sort of shocked, to be honest, that clubs that are down the bottom haven't gone out trying to snag someone from Northern Territory or, from another state, or where it's a bit out of season, or guys that have said, like, assuming you're 33 and you're like, I've had enough, I'll hang the boots up.
Yeah.
I've got to spend some more time with the kids. I'd be knocking on your door going, Bonners, mate, look, how about you play every second game and I'll give you a couple $100 a game.
You've still got teams above high. Like, you've got Divi 1 teams that are, the fringe players aren't possibly getting a game. Come down and Divi 2 and try and help us in a couple of years to get up to Divi 1.
There's a guy that's done that and we'll get to that in Division 3, who is currently the best player in Division 3. We'll come to that. Division 2 leading goal kickers, Ethan Lowe, Watsonia, sitting on 40. James Lacente, who left Watsonia, went to Thomastown, sitting on 26. Joel Lawson, Lorimer, sitting on 26. And that goes to show you got a goal kicking 26 goals are on the bottom of the ladder. Riley Livingston from Panton Hill on 23. Ricky Fendrich on 21. And Jeremiah Adpass on 20. So, I mean, they're 20 and aboves. Guys, not a bad effort because the competition's strong.
Well, you look at the best players as well. I mean, we're talking about Watsonia causing some issues. There's 3 players in the top 10 from Watsonia in Divi 2.
That's
crazy, best on grounds, best players. So you're always looking at, I guess, trying to get that consistency. If you've got 3 players in, I mean, we spoke about some of these other players that, in Division 1 that were best on from one team. You'll lose these guys. There's suddenly 3 guys in Watsonia that are getting in the best. So if one of them goes down, you've still got 2 decent players going there. So the group is, you got Daniel Anetta, Watsonia.
Ranking number 1.
Ranking number 1. Ranking number 2, Harry Sinclair from Watsonia. Taj Bland from Whittlesea is number 3. Bailey McLeod from Lorimer, which is fantastic, I think, for a bottom side to have a player up there.
Might get pinched.
Yep. Ty Hall from South Morang is 5.
Yep.
Josh Bolton again from Watsonia is number 6. Jordan Perry, Northcote Park. So 2 Northcote Parks as well. So that's where you kind of find. Yusuf Dib from Thomastown at 8. Jonathan Nadar from Northcote Park at 9, and Jordan Sacco from Laurel Plenty.
Could easily be ranked number 1 as well. He's absolute.
Which you kind of expect that, I guess, from lower teams, because there's always going to be those standout players that get it every week. But it is a great sign that, some of these players have such potential to take their clubs a little bit higher, but they do have to have a few more mates.
Very quick commercial, and we'll be back. And if you're looking for a Sparky, no one better to look for than this
At
fella
KJY
right
Electrical, you are guaranteed that perfect job from our local Sparky Kyle. Support local business that supports the Northern Footy Show. Call Kyle today for a quote on 0419638241. Let him know you love the Footy Show for your discount.
And just like that, we're back. If you need a Sparky, call Kyle. He is the man. He's just gone into business, and any local support will be good.
This is where it's going to get ugly.
Shit going to start flying everywhere.
Stuff's going to start flying here, because I think your rankings for Divi 3
here we go.
is just borderline.
This is as edgy as you've been, mate.
Borderline criminal.
Oh, well,
what you're trying to do.
Do you want to lead the way here?
I would love to lead the way, because you've got in Divi 3. Let's have a look at the actual ladder and what's been developed in this ladder for Divi 3. The fact that all top 5 teams aren't an A or an A+ is pretty much criminal for me, because I feel like this is a competition that a few years ago you'd sit there and go, I'm not going to sit there and watch this. We now have the top 5 teams coming into this competition where you sit there and go, I have no idea who's going to win the premiership.
I'm hearing excuses, mate. You get ranked where you get ranked.
Yeah, but you're terrible at ranking. You can't even read your own writing. How are you going to rank
All
players?
right, tell me where I've gone wrong. Old Paradians. I've said
There's no way Fitzroy Stars are an A-.
Well, we'll get to Fitzroy Stars. You need to calm down. Old Paradians ranking A. I've said Old Paradians have justified their A-grade ranking with an impressive 8-1 record in their debut season, led by standout ruckman Sam Gilmore, who everyone's sick of hearing about, I'm sure. They boast a talented and cohesive team under the guidance of coach Ben Turner, who commands immense respect. Expect them to feature prominently in finals. You think A's too rough or
No, I think an A+ for them.
A+? We're rewarding
That's because I'm a
dropping a
Paradian.
game, are we?
I'm a Paradian.
I reckon you're a dickhead. That's what I think. But, I'm giving it a tick. There's no way you can give it an A+. But
Now, have a look at this. Look at the drill come down. Fletch, come on. You got to ring up. He's giving you an A-, Fletch. I think you need to get on the phone.
I think Fletch will accept an A-. So you
No,
can either
because-
ring in Fletch and I'll put you on speaker, or you can.
I'm carrying him again, Fletch. I swear.
text him.
Someone else has to come and tell him how ridiculous he's been.
Well, what I've said about Moonda is, despite challenging start with injuries to the season, Moonda's rallied to a 7-2 record.
Do you want to read it? Or?
No, shut up, dickhead. Coach Rob Fletcher has unearthed new talents like Joel Harris, Matty Borden, and Lincoln Coffey to complement their already experienced stars. They remain strong contenders for the premiership, and I'm putting it out there, they win the flag.
Yeah, well,
They got too many people to come back. They are untouchable with everybody on the field.
Yeah, but everyone says that, but I don't think that's true.
I'm putting 20-cent bet on. If you want it,
No,
take
$20.
it.
We're going $20.
Oh, 20
I'll have
bucks.
everyone else,
I'll
and you
make
can
it
have
that much
Moonda.
money.
There we go.
All right, done.
Yeah, no, they're an A for me. I think they've done an amazing job. I think, I love what Fletch does as a coach. Probably could dial down a little bit of the swearing when we're actually taping.
Just calm down on you.
I think they've done amazing. As I said, I think the top 5 teams have just made this competition so damn good that you sit back and go, I just cannot wait. I just want to kind of skip the rest of the year and just go straight to finals with the top 5.
Final series.
Yeah, I can't really see anyone else taking the spots of the guys in the finals now.
Yeah.
It'd take a massive miracle for anyone. Epping's knocking on the door, but I just think the actual distance between 5 and 6 is just it's a gulf too far to do. I think the top 5's already settled down. I'm just not sure which the order will be.
Let's move to Fitzroy Stars. I've given them an A- as well. Fitzroy Stars, another top performer, are led by Captain Jai Proctor and bolstered by a deep roster that includes multiple Proctor talents. I think there's
Jai Proctor.
I think there's 20 Jai Burns. I think there's
You've put Jai Burns and Kane Proctor together. You peanut.
I think that there's about 27 Proctors in that side of the line.
No, it should be the Proctor Stars. I said that
the
from the
Proctor
start.
Stars. With potential X factors like Farrant coming back from Collingwood, that is the world of difference there.
Yep.
And the leadership of co-captain Kane Proctor and coach Lionel Proctor, they look set for a premiership tilt. I know you probably got them as one of your favourites.
I think they win it. I honestly think when they get their team running, I saw them play Old Paradians, and Old Paradians were amazing, but I felt like the turnovers of Fitzroy Stars that day killed them. I just think there's too many stars in that team. I think they're an A, at least an A, because I feel like that they set a decent standard. Okay, they've dropped a game here and there, but their percentages, 170, Mooners 170, Old Paradians 160, got 150 for Old Eltham and 125 for Ivanhoe. Like, it's just an incredible top group, and I just think that they've made this third division, all 5 of them deserve kudos.
Kids, if you want to get your schoolwork rated, give it to Bonners because he's just given extra digits away here.
Well,
I'm sticking with my A-.
You can't even get people's name right. Your mate called him Jai Proctor.
It's like a crossword. You've got to guess what I'm saying.
Jeez, it's a cryptic crossword, it sounds like.
All right, let's go to we haven't agreed on anything yet on this one. Old Eltham Collegians, I've given a B.
Yeah.
Despite a few setbacks, including a tough loss to Heidelberg West, Old Eltham Collegians have shown promise with a talented squad featuring McCaffer, Allison, Simpson. They are poised to rebound strongly in the second half to secure a finals berth, but it has been a disappointing few weeks for the Collegians.
Same thing. Go back 3 weeks, you're giving them an A+. Now I think a B's actually more than reasonable.
Oh, shut the shop. All right, well, look, I do think Eltham Collegians, if you think about it, before they've dropped these three, everyone's going, how are you going to get near them? So it's okay to have a hiccup. You don't win finals in June.
Well,
So,
we've spoken about that at South Morang, had exactly the same thing. They've come back strong the last few weeks, so
good sides do.
only time will tell.
Good sides do. Ivanhoe, Schultze, if you're watching, Bonners wants to have your children. He's absolutely in love with you. I've given them a B under Coach Wayne Schultz. Has shown steady improvement, narrowly missing wins against great sides like Fitzroy Stars and Old Eltham. Key players like Daniel Jones and the anticipated return of Ottens could propel them into finals contention.
Why I think this is thing is that, like, I'm big on big scores, and I'm still not 100% confident they will. But you're bringing a team from a previous competition into a new competition, so not only is the football different, the brand of football is different, the whole aspect of football is different. For them to be that, sitting in fifth position, I think it's an A-, because it's a different thing when teams have been there for a while. You get to understand the competition. They've only had 9 weeks to work out what this competition is. And I know Old Paradian's the same, but I think they're justifiably very similar. It's a different competition. So as if you're going from Divi 2 to Divi 1 or Divi 3 to Divi 2, you're going from VAFA D2 to third division Northern Footy Netball League.
So do you think they're the same ranking as Fitzroy Stars?
Yeah, I do.
If Wayne Schultz says he actually doesn't ever want to speak to you again, do you still rate them?
I still rate them there. I still think that, because speaking of Paul Harris, he said that you got to remember a lot of these teams have played night games, so it's a lot harder to play football in night games. It's a lot dewy. You can't kick as many scores, so they've led the way by saying, "Look, we're going to have some night games, get the excitement for the football up." But I think their defensive football is as good as anyone else's. They may not have that attacking flair yet, but I think if they put that in there as well, they're a serious contender. I actually think coming across from VAFA, having played both, it's a massively different competition.
Well, I keep hearing from a few people that Ivanhoe's the side they don't want to play in finals, because if they get it together, they could win it.
Yeah.
The truth is they could win the flag.
The top 5. I mean, can you be certain that any of the top 5 won't win it?
What I could be certain of, if they played each other 3 times each, we'd never pick the right result.
No, and they'd probably be 2-1 against some teams and 2-1 against the other teams.
100%.
So.
All right, let's move down to
so
Epping.
You're wrong.
We're going to try and wrap this up in 8 minutes. I've got Epping as a B-. Epping's consistent performances have put them in contention despite some close losses to top sides. With a fully fit squad, they could pose a significant threat, led by coach Brad Hollow. Strategic approach. The thing with Epping is they haven't been pumped by anyone, really. So they're thereabouts.
Exactly. I just
need to get over the line.
But as I said to you, there's got to be a team that drops out. Name a team of the top 5 that drops out for them to go in.
Well, it has to be.
It's not as easy.
If Old Eltham don't get on with it, or Ivanhoe have a stinker, Epping creep in. But you're happy with a B-?
Yep.
Jesus. Believe it.
We should stop calling me that. We're not at home. Just JC's fine.
Kilmore, I've given him a C+. Kilmore has displayed some brilliance with wins over strong opponents, like Old Eltham and Old Paradian.
You know what C+? Your ability to write.
The challenge remains for them to maintain consistency and secure a finals berth under coach Paul Derrick. C+ instead of C- because they have knocked off.
I agree. I think
they're 1 foot out of the finals, or 1 foot in.
If there's a team you don't want to play at their home ground, it's Kilmore.
Yep.
They touched up Old Paradians, and they've touched up a few other teams as well. So I think C+, but I'll tell you, a couple of different performances, and that could well have been an A-.
Well, dropping a game to Laylaw for starters.
Yeah, and that hurts.
At home.
Yeah.
You know,
and not really to go against Laylaw, but Laylaw are there to try and rebuild their club. So
different setup. All right, you're agreeing with me on Kilmore C+. Heidelberg West C-. Heidelberg West have struggled to find momentum in a fiercely competitive season, but still show promise through players like Max Brown, who's having a stellar first senior season. They'll be doing well to hold on to Max, I reckon. He might find himself in a higher grade. And Michael Atelier, they face an uphill battle for finals
Yep.
contention, though. You'd have to say their odds are making it a low. I'd give them probably 8 to 1 to
Yeah,
make
no,
finals.
the only other team I think is either Epping or Kilmore can make it. Anyone below that's going to be extremely hard. You got to get a lot more wins. You know, they're 2 games and percentage out. So yeah, it's a tough gig.
Okay, what about my C minus? Are you with me or against me?
No, with you though.
King Lake, I forgot them the other day online. I didn't forget them. I did a copy and paste. They were on the other page and I stuffed
No, you
up.
said stuff them. I remember you messaging me.
No, I didn't. I actually expected a lot more out of King Lake this year, but King Lake will look back on their first half of the season as missed opportunity. No lack of talent there on the list, and they had finals aspirations. I had them in the top 4 pre-season. However, their season
Can you stop people going picking people.
I know their season is long gone. 2-7 at the halfway mark. They'll need a very different second half of the season. 1 solid win against Reservoir and a small win over Laylaw isn't good enough, so that's why the C plus.
Give that to you.
C minus is there. Sorry. Let's get to the last 2. Laylaw, I've given a C plus. I've actually ranked them higher than I did.
I agree.
King Lake and Heidelberg West, and I'll tell you why. They are, as you said, in a rebuild mode.
Yep.
I've said despite limited resources, Laylaw has shown resilience, highlighted by key victories and a competitive showing against stronger teams. Under the Whitnall leadership, and that's both Whitnall brothers, they aim to finish the season strongly. Yes, I gave them a C plus for having 2 wins for a few reasons. They have come from a low base. They've had to start belief again, and you know yourself, Bonners, that's bloody hard.
Yep.
They've been somewhat competitive. They beat Kilmore away, close to King Lake, only losing by 12 points, and went down to Ivanhoe by 20 points. That is a bloody good effort, if you ask me. They don't have the talent on the park yet to do it, but they've got a lot of games in the people this year that will pay dividend. Thank God Sam Rex Heppy is there. He's an absolute star. But the Bloods have heaps of fight in them, like the good old days, Bonners.
Yeah, and I think this is a year that they start to re-establish themselves. So you can't change a club unless you put the foundations right. We've been down there.
Yeah.
Foundations are amazing. Starting to get a couple of wins. I'm hoping to get 2 or 3 that they get in the second half of the year, more for what has changed at the club. And I'd love to see, the Layla of old used to be another fearful place to go down there. That people leaning over the fence and giving it to me. So it'd be nice to see them go again.
All right, let's get to Reservoir to round out the rankings before we do our best players for Division 3. I've given them a D minus. It's hard to give them anything other than that. They continue a rebuild. They face significant challenges in a toughest Division 3 ever. Their efforts are commendable, and they aim to secure their first win soon under challenging circumstances. I truly hope they get it.
So it's got to be an E. You can't give a team anything lower than an E without a win, to be honest. And
no, you reckon?
And
it's
that's not. And it's.
I just didn't want to kick them while they were down.
No one's about kicking them, but you can't have a team that hasn't won. They've got opportunities. They've got to finish it off. And I hope for the second half of the year, there's 2 or 3. There's nothing worse going through a season without tasting victory. So Northcote Park had their first one. I'm hoping that these guys get one real soon.
Before we go into the best players and the goal kickers for Division 3, we have you can buy a player like Feb for the day, or you can buy whoever. What about buying a coach for the day to help you in those circumstances?
A bloke that I'd bring down, a bloke we spoke to on Friday night. I reckon a Ray Shaw for a night would be.
He's a good man.
He's a fantastic human being, and
smart man too.
He's a very, very smart football brain. And what he does is he brings something different to a club. Not to say anything wrong with a coach, but I think sometimes as an assistant to come down and just to bring something a little bit different. When you're down, and I've been there, I was at Preston in the times of the VFL. You get spanked every week. It's a great place to be playing football, but now and again you just want to taste the victory, and it takes a lot out of you.
Sometimes a different voice is all right.
And I can only commend Reservoir, to be honest, because to be in that situation, still turn up, still have 2 teams every week, you have nothing but my respect.
I don't mean that he should go down and coach Reservoir. I mean, how good would Ray Shaw at any club, Division 1, 2 or 3?
Yeah.
Even we'll use Vin Toli as an example. I know he's an absolute slave of the game. His brain just ticks 24/7. I went to a Heidelberg game pre-season. He let the assistant coach sat back and watched, communicated with guys in a different way. Yep, I think it's a great idea. And you can hire Bonners. He's currently going for 7 cents a game. All right, Bonners,
up from 5.
You've got the leading goal kickers for Division 3.
Everyone above 20, and there's 8 of them above. You've got, speaking of your man, Sammy Rex Epi from Layla, 31 goals, so he's top of the goal kicking. Ethan Derrick from Kilmore's kicked 28. Bryce Cumulatus from Merndas, kicked 28. I've got James Almasali from Reservoirs, kicked 28, which is fantastic. For a team on the bottom, for a team, kicked 28 goals is amazing. Damien Powell from King Lakes had kicked 24 goals, been the best players once, so that's a good thing. Matty Williamson from Old Collegians has kicked 23. We've got Daniel Rankin, Ruckland from Eppings had 22, and Tyson Pickett from the Fitzroy Stars, 22, Darren.
I didn't pick on you because you pronounced something incorrect, but I let it go. Anyway, the best players, I have another love child too. We'll get to that.
You've got about 10.
Number one player that I've got will shock people for Division 3. Hayden Hunt has come down from winning the reserves at North Heidelberg, wanted more senior time, come down, and he is blitzing the league. 9 games, been in the best 9 times. That's a consistency you want. Well done, Hayden. You are my number one Division 3 player. Then you've got Jack Craig Smith from Reservoir. He's been in the best 8 out of 9 times. Can't hide that. Here's my love child.
Yeah,
I reckon in a previous life I was a Whittaker because young Joel Harris, who is absolutely ripping it up, and I love the kid. He is a star, Bonners. He is a star. So Joel Harris, number 3, best player in the league. Send me my $50 as I spoke to you about earlier on the phone. Michael Italia, number 4. Jai Burns, no surprise, number 5, also known as Jai Proctor. Number 6, Zachariah Cuppins, number from Reservoir. Number 7, Brett McCaffo, no surprise, Old Eltham Collegians. Kieran Robertson, number 8 from Reservoir. And then we've got Kane Proctor coming in at number 9, and Chris Barton from Kilmore
Jai
at
Kane.
Yes,
Jai.
so
that means that that means that Jai's Batman and Kane's Robin, because we were discussing that a few weeks ago.
Kane said that he was Batman and Jai
I'm
was
sorry,
Robin, but I don't know.
points.
You're going to have to pull your head in a bit here, Kane. But special mentions to Rob Holland and Mark Ferrero from Reservoir, who are also in the best so often. It's just fantastic work. But you go all the way down. I'm going to give a special mention to this guy down here who's absolutely killing it, Joshy Coe. Left Mernda last year, went to Kilmore, best on ground last week. He's a start. Coey, will you give me a call? We need to get you on the show shortly. That'll be fantastic. All right, Bonners.
Let's quickly whip through. In a word.
Go.
West Preston, Greensborough.
West Preston in an upset.
Greensborough win. McLeod, Banyule.
Banyule.
By lots. Bundoora, Mont.
Mont.
Hurstbridge, Eltham.
Hurstbridge.
Yep, Hurstbridge for me. Heidelberg, North Heidelberg. Do we? And I may say that Heidelberg pretty much have home games for the rest of the year because of what they've done in the first half of the year.
I'm going to go the upset, North Heidelberg by a point.
Yep. Divi 2, Lower Plenty, Lorimer.
Lorimer get their win. Yep.
I'm with you on that. Diamond Creek, Tomo.
Diamond Creek easy.
Yep, on the green. Whittlesea, St Mary's.
Whittlesea.
I'm going to Nuppy. I'm going to St Mary's upset. Northcote Park, Panton Hill.
Northcote Park by 41 points.
I agree. Watsonia, South Marine.
Definitely South Marine.
I'm going Watsy.
You're a dickhead.
Epping, Ivanhoe.
Oh, where is it?
At Epping.
Oh, shit. I'll go Ivanhoe.
Yep, Ivanhoe for me. Fitzroy Stars, Old Eltham Collegians at Fitzroy Stars.
Fitzroy Stars.
Agreed. Laylaw, Heidelberg West.
Laylaw.
Laylaw for me too. Old Paradians, Mernda.
Mernda by 77 points.
Old Paradians.
Don't let me down, Fletch.
Kilmore, King Lake.
Kilmore.
Kilmore wins at home.
Yep. We're done.
How easy is that?
Bonners, great show. Thank you for everyone for sticking with us. It was over an hour, which we never tried to do, but it's great to do our wrap up.
Stop you talking.
Next week, I can tell you we have a couple of guests on. We have, I've forgotten. We have Hurstbridge president, maybe.
Yep.
Is coming on.
We're still trying to work out next week. So the next couple of weeks will be a President's Week.
Yep.
And we're trying to get a couple of father-son
coaches on.
Yep. So we'll see how we go with that.
You can't hide from that, can you? That's my joke.
Sweet Jesus.
Till next week, guys. Keep kicking goals, and we will be back with you Sunday afternoon.